to share her vision about hospitality in healthcare. Dr. Huang, Wendy, we're very, very happy to have you here today, and thank you for making the time to share your expertise with us here, this group of hospitality professionals. I want to start with maybe just introducing a little bit about your career and your career path. Wendy is from Chongqing, and she is a graduate of Chongqing University. You practice medicine, specifically anesthesiology, at Chongqing University Hospital for 7 years. Is that correct? Yes. And then she carried on to take her medical experience to start developing medical equipment and doing medical equipment sales to try to bring latest cutting-edge technology to China hospital system. After that, not only are you a medical doctor, but she also has her MBA. She has a master's degree in business from the University of Texas at Arlington Joint Program here in Shanghai, of which she then joined in 2014 United Healthcare here in Shanghai, where she was overseeing executive hospital administration, both in Shanghai and in Beijing, but she was also part of the first rehabilitation center, purely focused on rehabilitation, if I'm not mistaken, in Beijing. That's correct. One other thing to know about Wendy is that while she was working as an executive hospital administrator, she was also selected to participate in the Harvard Medical School Public Health Program. So all the while she was working a full-time job, she was traveling and studying and doing a comparative analysis of different hospital systems across the world and some of the best institutions in the United States and Asia, China, Singapore, Korea. So we are very, very happy to have you here because at the moment, as of 2017, you have been a part of opening the Jiaxing Kaiyi Hospital in Pudong as the CEO. So thank you for coming.
My pleasure.
Thank you. Wendy, we have so many questions for you. But I'd like to start with knowing, why did you choose a career in healthcare?
Wow, that's a very good question. I'm even not thinking about it. I'm kind of living with healthcare while Elizabeth mentioned my career path. It's okay. Yeah, it seems like very selfish thinking about my family, my parents, because I came from like 7 kids family. My mom mentioned we need to have a doctor in our family. And then all brothers say, who is going to be the doctor? Nobody answered. And then I said, okay, I'm going to be a nurse. Yeah.
So then you decided to join healthcare. It was not easy to get to that point, if I'm not mistaken.
Oh, the Gaokao at that age. I don't want to talk about age. She reminds me about that. So at that age, it's very, very hard past the Gaokao. In my room, we are grade 1 class, right? Class in the whole high school. Even within 50%, we have only 7 past the Gaokao. So I was recruited by Chongqing University Hospital. Yeah. So there is no opportunity to go to Shanghai or Beijing at that time because they gave the provinces the quota, but not like now. Now it's like a lot. Yeah, everybody have go to the university.
So okay. Wendy's medical background is in anesthesiology. She's the one who puts people to sleep. Okay, so which is really, really interesting because I'm curious to know what you think as how a hospital compares to a hotel. You're putting people to sleep in a different way.
Oh, yes. That's the number one. The same. The English words you can say, I didn't say the big difference. Hospitality. Hospital. And you can say, actually, we are doing the same thing. People cares for people. And our customer all far from home, right? And then we do improve the quality of their life in a very special circumstances. So that's very similar.
I would
Yeah.
agree. I think also Jenny mentioned about, our work as hospitality professionals is to take care of others, to make them feel happy, to make them feel at home.
Yeah, that's true. Even we say better because home cannot treat the disease. So in some of the hospital when I visited in USA, they promote say even better than you stay home.
Interesting. Even better than you stay home. That's an idea to take back to the hotels. If you stay with us, it's even better than if you stay home. Wendy, I think it's really important for us as hospitality professionals and leaders here that we understand a little bit about your world, managing and operating hospitals, and maybe you can explain to us what's the difference between a private and public hospital here in China?
Okay. Let me doing a survey. Who is going to be a patient in public hospital in China? Who was.
Has anybody been to a hospital in China?
Yes.
Public hospital.
Okay, yeah. Any going to private sector? Okay, yeah, okay. I couldn't read, I can read their face while they're talking about. I don't want to ask them the answer, but when I see their face, okay, something different, something different. So yeah, you are right. So private hospital, private sector is recent, maybe five more years in China. Previously all public. That's all. Like the setup of hospital is more or less like a troubleshooting places. While you have diseases, you go there. Diagnosis and treatment. It's more disease focus. And the setup, the way is more doctor-centered, bureau-centered. So that's the public hospital. Then the private sector, while they're learning, their dissatisfaction from the customer, from the patient, from their family member, they put more effort on non-medical services. So they give better environment, they protected their privacy, they spend more time listening, they even provide better care from the food, from the room service, to make the people feel in a healing situation. So then the all element put together, plus medical services, the people really be treated. It's not the disease. So it's people and a disease.
How many people does a doctor see on a daily basis in a hospital?
One doctor? It's very hard to say, but I heard of my friends, they complaining in the one day is more than at least 300 to 400.
300 to 400
public.
people. One doctor. That's a busy day at the front desk.
So that's the 5
for one
million.
doctor.
They're complaining, if you remember, or they're complaining about, I pay hundreds, but I say doctor 5 million. Right? In China, they're all talking
5
about
minutes
that.
with the doctor.
That's the reason. But there's a lot of reasons behind, because how you set up the care, how you set up the services, the system-wide problem behind.
So how to create hospitality in 5 minutes? Right? In 5 minutes, that's a very big question. But before we go to that and your vision for hospitality in hospitals, I would like to know how the hospitals were impacted by COVID-19. Because in hospitality, we were very much impacted by COVID-19. How was the case in the healthcare sector?
I would say in COVID-19, doctors, nurses, hospitals are all under spotlight, hero around the world, right? So everybody started to know about infection control, about diseases, about how risk working in hospital. That's on one hand. And another hand, while you're talking about the hospital business, actually like any other business is being impacted. So a lot of hospitals, we were not in Wuhan, but also closed. A lot of services is not allowed to provide. Public, private, all the same. So there is no more patient coming. And all selective procedures is stopped or postponed. That's heavily impact of the cash flow. A lot of private clinics, they are simply closed because there is too small. Cash flow is very hard to sustain. And also for healthcare, there is more challenges like the professionals also realize something needs to be improved.
What needs to be improved?
Like the knowledge set, experience set, and how to avoid burnout while under heavy crisis and under heavy workload, the normal time, because now they have the time to thinking. Knowledge-wise, technical support, internet, hospital or consultation, or a lot of things can help on. And the good part is like doctors, they can see patient online. But they still cannot get good score from the patient. Why? So there is a lot of thinking happening too.
So you said a lot of key words here. Burnout, we know about burnout in hospitality. Hundreds of people coming to see you, right? So in one given day. And I'm just curious to know, what do you see as kind of the opportunities to manage through that burnout for your team to still be able to give service? What are the best practices that you think of managing the hospital process moving forward?
Yeah, that's a very good question. If I answer very simple, then I will say no. I don't know. But like Jenny said, we have to think about something, how we can get through and making things better. So for healthcare, the challenge is different. We had a lot of challenge from the compliance, the guidelines. So they came out every day. Every day, almost every day. And then all the policies, guidelines is talking about different area. Radio area, laboratory, infection control, and the nurses, and all the license, so all stuffs coming out together. So that's the major challenge for us. And other hand is how we can better present our services for the normal people, how we talk about it. Let them understand medical healthcare services, we care about people, not simply the disease.
Well, you mentioned that you were utilizing technology. I think the Chinese system in general is starting to go more along the lines of consultation, make an appointment online, meet with the doctor online, that even your physicians have KPIs about customer satisfaction.
Yes.
Can you tell us about those KPIs? What does a doctor have as a KPI for customer service?
For doctor, the public sector, they have their own KPI. There is more like the utilization ratio, the beds filling ratio is very similar, like in private sector. In private sector, they're similar. But we also monitor doctors. We use very direct way, let promote school.
Intent to promote?
Let promote, school.
So what does that mean?
So it means we give a very nicely card to the patient, put outside of doctor's consultation room. After they see doctor, immediately they fill in they fill in their answer. Say, if you have the similar situation, if your friends or family member have the similar situation, do you want to choose this doctor?
Oh, similar to the hotels, yeah.
Very direct.
Very
way.
direct. How did the doctors score?
Normally, doctor's score is quite good. Because that's, while as a patient say doctor, they will always high score of the doctor. Because their relationship, they are afraid. They are afraid. Doctor or professional, they are doing what's the best for the patient. But from a hospital perspective, we do more about food delivery, environment, room setup, and the toilet, cleaning enough. So we do those kind of stuff, and then we have not so good score. And even we're talking about front operation people of our customer service. Are they smile? Are they explaining clearly? Are they listening from you? Are they give you a right direction or right guideline for next step? Where is the radio department? So those small things normally really impact the final score of satisfaction.
So what is your vision, Wendy, when you talk about hospitality in your hospital? What would be the ideal experience for your patients?
I would say hospitality actually is in hospital. Is in hospital. So we say patient family centered. We say safety. First of all, we say safety because hospital is a place a lot of patients actually have the damage, have second damage, and have the infection diseases within the hospital, and have fall happening every day, have hurt themselves. So we say the safety. And then we would have the patient have a good mood to trust us. Even though you have best doctor, if the patient not trust you, not feel comfortable in the environment with your food, with your room, with the people surrounding them, then you cannot get the best result for their disease.
And you yourself have been a patient going through your own experience having to have medical care. What did you take away from that as a patient? What did you say, I wish my doctor would have done this, or I wish the hospital would have been like this? What did you take away? What was your experience as a patient? And how is that influencing your vision for hospitality in your hospital?
Oh, yes. I had my procedure in oncology hospital in China, in Fudan. I did experience, and I told my friend, they were the hospital director. I told them, let me experience myself. And she keep message me, if you cannot sustain, let me know. I'm going to give you a green light.
Was that a public hospital?
Yes, that's a public hospital. I told them, and now I have time because I had my time going to hospital for procedure. I told her, I said, I have the time now. So let me experience in a public hospital. Have inpatient, have all. It's several times I can't control, I can't manage myself. I'm trying to message her, say, please help. Yeah, so it seems like everybody is busy. And you go through in front of them, nobody see you. They're not see you.
Sounds like a hotel sometimes, where we're so busy we just run past the guest.
And
how did that make you feel?
It's like it's really lost. And sometimes I'm thinking like, can I get a best treatment here? Can I get best treatment here? So it's suspicion. It's suspicion.
Interesting.
Yeah. And also in hospital, they were like, oh, if you have complaint, we have the complaint desk.
Call the MOD. MOD.
Go to there.
Call the duty manager. Yes.
Yeah, yeah. So, yeah.
I think that for us, the same, until you've been a guest, until you've been a patient, you don't really understand the experience and how important it is to have hospitality there.
That's true. That's true. Because I was working in United Family Healthcare. That's a quite international group. So we were trained different way. We do preventive care. We train we don't say patient complaining. We don't say customer service. We say liaison. We say customer liaison. So they were rounding, they were represent of the patient. They were bridge, they will coordinate their care, not simply the medical care, non-medical care. So most of the time it's bothered by non-medical care.
A lot of people in this room, maybe even, are interested about healthcare, or maybe would be interested to explore healthcare. As someone who perhaps studied hospitality or all their experiences in hospitality, what might be an access point? How would I be able to transition my career to healthcare? What would I need to do? Who do I need to speak to? What are the skills I need to have? Is your HR here today?
Been HR here. To answer your question, I would like to bring something to you. It's like the changing of the healthcare industry. So previously, talking about healthcare is hospital, clinic. But now in China, we're talking about 大健康. So it's like start from preventive, predictive, diagnosis, treatment, post-hospital care, and cellular care, cellular living until hospice services. So the whole life cycle, we have our medical services. Especially in China, is changing so rapidly. So rapidly. So you can say in China, a lot of different healthcare models is already there. For example, travel medical. Previously, they all bring the people to USA, to Japan, to European countries. And now there is a lot of places already there. Like in Sanya, Hailan, Beidaihe, those kind of area, they all have those kind of travel medical services. They do specialty care, they do health screening. So they were more than half of their staff, non-medical staff, from hospitality. And cellular living. So previously, I couldn't believe until I visited one of the cellular living facility close to Cleveland. That's in a Seychelles area. And all their cellular citizens, there were citizens living there. And some of them told me they live in even better than their lifetime. So they had medical, they have rehab inside. And also one of the cellular living area in Japan we visited, they give their cellular population while they're really aged. They couldn't even eating, but then making the vegetable smashed and resemble, looks like the same vegetable. They provide services with respect and make those people feel they're alive even one day. So that's all hospitality, and that's all already started to happening in China. A lot of real estate company like Taikang, they have their rehab, they have their senior living. They provide a lot of hospitality services there.
So your hospitals, our hotels, and our industry all have been affected by the recent turn of events. And what advice might you have for them to continue to stay, to be inspired, to continue the care of genuine care for others?
Yeah, let's say the crisis, a lot of changing happening. We feel, we sense. First of all, it's really some of the value perspective. People started to enjoy the moment. People started to enjoy the life they have. Celebrate, they have the breath, compared with some very, very difficult situations. And then they started to looking for better life. They appreciate people's contribution, people's cares, people. And they're demanding quality of the life within their affordable situation. So it's say they are taking care of their health, they're taking care of their quality of their life. They are also thinking how they can have this kind of skill to sharing, to caring, and to enjoy this kind of situation.
So many opportunities still for those in hospitality with the skill set. I'd like to open up questions to the audience. If anyone has any questions for Dr. Huang.
Good afternoon, CEO. My name is Sam from La Roche. But before I have the experience work for the Script Pharmaceuticals. I have the questions because I have just read the APP of your Kaiyi hospital in Jiaxing, right? And from that, the brief introduction, you said that you provided the different service for the patients. So my question is that in the Jiaxing, that in your hospital, you said you have the 500 beds you can accept. So right now, that how much percentage that is occupied? And also that in your hospital, is it already including to Yibao or outside of Yibao? Okay. Yeah, because your competitors, whatever in Shanghai or in Jiangsu province, in Jiangsu, that the Mingji Hospital is very successful. It's from the Taiwan investment, and they have both the hospital in Nanjing and Suzhou, and their resources of their doctors, they share, not only based in Nanjing, maybe 1 week there, 1 week there. So for your doctor resources, that can you give us the brief that how many master degree, how many PhD, and how many professors right now you have, and give us the more details regarding your hospital operations. Thank you.
Okay, thank you. You are very insider. You understand more about healthcare in China. So first of all, I have to explain, Jiaxing project is under commissioning. So it's going to open May of next year. The setup, we get pre-approval is 500 hospital. It's a general hospital, a tertiary hospital in Jiaxing. So you are right, all the competitions is already there. And for us, why we have our hospital there, because there is an economic development zone. They had a very ambitious planning to import a lot of industries over there. So we and another international school is imported first, because that's the basic support for the whole development zone. So, Yibao, that's a very good question. For us, since we are collaborate with local government, so that's the basic requirement asked. Because Yibao can really help us from business perspective is bring in the traffic, bring in the local community. And on the other hand, for us, it's really, we need to building word of mouth. Let the people close to us understand what's the different, what's the real international services, how we treat not only the disease, but the people. We treat them as a people. So that's, yeah.
Can you explain, maybe for those who may not be familiar with what Yibao is?
Yibao is really government medical insurance. So they cover all the citizens. They are working while they have the job. Yeah, it's normally, it's like a government purchase from healthcare provider. Yeah, and you are talking about the professionals, the doctors in China. Currently, that's also another impact. After COVID-19, it's previously though, it's like doctor, they're working in public sector more. And then gradually, a lot of doctors, they go to private because private, they pay higher and see less patient, obviously. And after COVID-19, because the business is really impact, a lot of doctors also thinking back to public. And in China, the doctor, we have 5 years university and another 3 master degree. And if they're looking for institutional development, they may go doctor after doctor degree. So if they are working in hospital, after university, they can start practice. Yeah. You've answered your question?
Thank you very much.
Okay.
I'm Robert. I am from the La Roche Hotel School as well. And I'm just curious, there are obviously here 2 managing directors or CEOs or chair ladies, as you would call them, of a hospitality industry. One is of a beautiful hotel in this area, and you are I think a chairman or chair lady of a hospital. What do you think, what kind of qualities are you similar running the business, and in what areas do you think you differ from Jennifer running a hotel?
I'm not running hotel. It's very hard to make comparison. In hospital, running hospital, we also have the challenge how you can. So it's like how you can fill in more about your beds. Let's say that way. How you increase the utilization you have from ancillary services, from the inpatient beds, from the consultation room, and also how you better use the time of your doctors. So that's what I guess that's quite similar like hospital. Occupancy.
Yes, occupancy.
Yes. And for us, it's different like how we measure the quality, medical quality, safety, infection control, how you do infection control. And also another thing, when I'm learning in Harvard School, we say CEO, hospital CEO, we say Chief Executive Officer. But we also say Customer Experience Officer. And we also say Chief Entertainment Officer. Because we need to make our colleague, our professors, our doctors, nurses, front desk colleagues feel positive, feel good. That's true. Yeah, so that means the CEO. So I guess a lot of things are quite similar.
I think maybe one thing in our chatting before that I think is interesting, maybe you could share more about, is the importance of the hospital to the community with which you operate. Can you elaborate a little bit more? Because I think hotels sometimes, they play a very big role in the community for employment, for entertainment venues, for providing jobs, etc. But what is the role of the hospital in a community?
Wow, that's a very good question. Very good question. Very similar, I would like to say. So this is a worldwide customer survey about hospital. 55% of customer, they come back. They use you as a healthcare provider is word of mouth. And within the word of mouth, the people, they say you good or good enough or not so good if they're surrounding you. Their words make big difference. So as a hospital, we do a lot of works, collaboration with community. I still remember when I run the rehabilitation hospital in Beijing, since this is an area we have a lot of disabled people coming, go to the street. So then the community, a lot of residents, they buy the houses, spend the money. They don't want to see those kind of patients go through their street. So we have to do education, engage them, and make them feel good. They're doing their care for the patient. And we're even doing recruiting from the community. And after that, and we're also doing a lot of charity health screening events, invite them in, or we go out to their community. And I guess that's also something very similar like hotel.
Maybe opportunity to do more of from the hotels, more connection to the community. We have time for another question.
So the question is that I think healthcare industry is a labor-intensive industry, which is same as hospitality. So that needs a large number of like frontline employees. So you have mentioned about that your hotel is going to be a like high-end hotel, which will have an excellent guest experience. So in that case, how to maintain the service, high service quality to the guests, like especially for the frontline employees?
Yeah. Okay, that's a good question. So since currently my hospital is not opening, I can recall I was leading the hospital in my previous, in United Healthcare. So it's really like daily. We have supervisors surrounding, we have courses online, and we have events, simulation, situation, video learning. The goal is like how we can wire those kind of behavior we want the people present. And we have like PDCA. It's like you find the gap, you work together, find solution, then you work again, then you reevaluate. So those kind of systematic ways we manage to make sure the people provide the high quality and services. Yeah. So there is another question I didn't answer, may directly answer. It's like the opportunity where you can get. So in Shanghai or Beijing, there's a lot of international healthcare is under the pipeline, like Hongqiao Yixue Zhongxin. So there are 7 kind of hospitals, even including Cleveland. They had signed the contract. They're going to building hospital, and in Pudong, and in Shanghai, Jiahui, Parkway, United Healthcare, and other cities in like Highland, there's a lot of new hospitals. They all partnership with some of the foreign hospitals.
How do they hire? How does one apply for a job, for example? Do they go to the website? Do they meet with you or with your team? How do you get there? Because we see the opportunity and the similarities between the industries, but then how do we make the jump? Should I apply to be a job at the customer service center? How do I get there?
I like to be a bridge. Something very similar like Elizabeth is really like say, there's a lot of talent people in China. That's true.
So many.
Yeah. So recent time is a little bit difficult. They were like freezed. There's no more recruiting. But gradually for healthcare, we're going to ramp up very, very soon because the demanding is there. Demanding from the customer leads and also from the facility leads already there. They had heavy investment there. So keep an eye on that. If you have the passion on that, you have the skill set already. And most of the valuable things, like you have your mindset already there. So keep an eye on that and say some advertisement. They are going to
Apply online.
apply online. Yes.
Great. Does anyone else have a question?
A real quick question following that. I'm actually in executive search, and I've come from food and beverage, so I have a lot of passion in hospitality, and now I kind of connect with more people. And to Elizabeth's question and to the earlier question, right? So I see the difference between hospitality and hospital is that your managers, which means your doctors, are professionally trained to be doing diagnosis, right? Like they're very technical background. They're not traditional trained to be of a service mindset, right? So, but in hospitality, like people are trained to be of service mindset. But you're saying with private hospital, their clinic, there is this demand of even doctors to be more customer focused or patient focused. So how do you work with them on that? And how do you have a rotating training program like we do in hospitality? How do you work with your doctors on that one? Thank you.
That's a very good question. That's bring me some of the, how to say that? That's our daily, in healthcare management, while I go to Harvard, the first course is hospital-doctor relationship. So we say doctor is very hard to please because they are professional.
Because they're seeing 300 people a day, Wendy. They're stressed out.
Yeah, that's another thing. So that's also, the thing is like you mentioned about if hospitality people join the healthcare, so you have something already in your mind, you have the basic skill set. However, the challenge maybe in healthcare is how you partnership with healthcare professional. And you can also do the two things. One is, while you join in, you can light up them. You can light up them because you are naturally. And the doctors, nurses, they are very smart. They can sense, they can learn. And in hospital, we are purposely, they run some of the skill training for doctor and nurses, like communication, like how the real smile, and how you talk about difficult information with patient. We do that. But for them, sometimes it's really hard to wire those kind of skill, compare with you, train on that.
So we're ahead of the game. As hospitality professionals, we are 15 steps ahead of the game. Very critical skills.
Alan here. I hope this is a fast question. So in the restaurant or hotel, we have a thing which is a cost rate that we have food and beverage cost, operation cost, labor cost, and equipment, which we can calculate into a depreciation for 24, 36 months. And then we can calculate and decide the menu price.
He's the chef, by the way. He's a chef.
So how do you do that in the hospital? And what's the ratio cost? How to calculate and trying to understand the logic here? Thank you.
Managing cost of F&B.
We do. We do calculate of that. But the way for us, we are not doing the core business of the food and the beverage. So for us, there is not big challenge on that. We do try to leverage because that's a plus. And the patient, family member, they're going to pay. So they're not price sensitive on that. But for some of the private healthcare, if you do good, if you do better, then you can really have the profit from the food beverage services. And there is one hospital in Shanghai. They hire their chef, or they hire a team from 5-star hotel. They did so great. And they keep doctors, nurses, stay with them. They don't want to leave. They said, because the food. And all the family members, they are not order the food outside. Now keep the housekeeping less work. and infection control did very well. So sometimes, in hospital, we do calculate directly. We also indirectly say their value. So that's, we say that's really the basic, but how we can do it as a value-added services, and it may really have the profit if you do good management. So that's why we are desperate to try to have the people, if they have the experience working in hotel.
Ooh, this is exciting. Wendy, I cannot thank you enough for sharing your needs as a healthcare provider, the needs of this group, sharing your experience, and for helping to keep us inspired. Because again, our industry is going through something we haven't seen yet before in a long time. But opportunities are still there, and the future is still bright. So thank you for sharing today.
Thank you.